What is up, Trading View? Welcome back to another market breakdown. And today we are going over none other than XAUUSD. And also, I'm going to pop over to Bitcoin to discuss, what's happened, where we're at in the market cycle, and maybe what you can expect as well. So, without further ado, let's jump into this thing. As always, we are starting off on our daily time frame. Now, as we drop down into gold, I'm going to go over two positions that I had placed today on gold, and how I handled them, and probably could have handled them better. So first things first, on the daily, we have a beautiful bull flag. We're coming from an uptrend. So we can establish this uptrend by something simple. We can look at which direction the market is currently in. It had a huge impulse up, and now we're forming this bit of a bigger bull flag that's forming, which usually a bull flag is giving an indication that the market wants to continue in the direction that it has been going in. We had this first big pullback here, and as we had our pullback, I'll show you those trades. So I'm just going to delete this off. I'll show you those trades that I took on the 4 hour and the 1 hour today. But we can establish our trend also by doing our lower or higher high. And then what we're going to do is just duplicate that. And then we're going to pop on our higher low. And then we just duplicate that over here. We had a higher low here, higher high here. And then right now, in the market, we're trying to find our next higher low because we had our higher high in this area. So that's kind of where we are in our daily. We've had our higher high, our higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. And now we're in the middle of establishing our higher low. Now, could this have been it? I'm not quite so sure and, certain that that's what our higher low was. But this gives me an indication of where I would have to see the market break to know that we're going to have some break, maybe a pullback, and then we would look for another continuation, depending on how it breaks through that higher high. So as we drop down into our 4 hour time frame now, the first thing I had on here is this 4 hour liquidity zone. This is just where I've seen price come down into multiple times, 1, 2, 3, 4, of where people like to get basically the best deal in price. And it doesn't have to be so shored up where I have it. It could have been this little spot. But this is just a spot that I had marked down to see where if price would come down into this area. It never hit it, so that's still an area price that I'm going to continue to check out. But I also down here have a daily liquidity zone, and then I'm going to keep this one, change that to a weekly liquidity zone of where I would love to see price come back down to. If we get a break below this, down below this would mean that we're now getting a change in market direction. Now, that's a long ways away. A lot of stuff can happen between then. But basically, when I'm looking at these liquidity zones, I'm looking to see how it reacts to that area or how it breaks to this area, how it breaks through an area. If we got a breakthrough here, I will wait for some type of bigger pattern to form, giving us an indication that the market wants to continue in this downward trend right here. And we would now be changing from a bullish to a bearish market. Currently, this was on our lower time frame was our lower high, which we got a break of. Let me show you that. This was our lower high. And I'm going to grab a little piece of text. Lower high. That we had formed. We got a clear break above this, and this was our other lower high in this area right here. where we got our first push away from the top, gave us a clear indication in the form of a bear flag. Also, the break below this area, forming our bear flag, and then giving us our first big pull, first big push down in the market. So for me to see and continue to look to take this thing higher, I would love to see a break above this. And it doesn't even have to be a big break, but a break above this would give me now an indication that we might get some big bit of a bigger pullback inside of this area. Something like this. It could also give us a touch of this and then reject it, or we could reject it in this area we're at now. That's some type of rejection here, where we would look for a flag in this area to now go ahead and take the market lower to come down into these lows down here. But currently, this is where the momentum in the market is, right here. So I'm not going to fight momentum inside of the market, and I'm not going to fight the overall trend inside of the market. So as we broke through this lower high, we're now in the midst of forming on a smaller time frame, another, really this could be one big move like this, where we form like almost this channel to the top. It doesn't quite break these areas right here. And then we just get a rejection, giving us a new lower high, and then the market will continue down. And like I said, I'm not opposed to the market going upwards. I wouldn't, but what I'm looking for to know that the market's going to continue in this upwards trend is for us to get a clear break above. Then we would form some type of bigger pullback into this area, and then represented in some type of flag or channel right here, and then going higher. Or I would even be not opposed to having something like this, where we have kind of a channel like this into this area. We get some type of flag up here, and then a break back above for a continued push higher. The rejection, those would be my top three. This ascending channel, with the break above where price kind of floats in that area, and this channel upwards, it then forms a smaller flag at the top of the channel with a clear break above. The second option I would love to see is having a clear break above structure, then a pullback where I would now start to look for the bigger pattern that's going to be formed on the 4 hour and the 1 hour time frame. And then if we don't get a break of that structure, we reject and we form a new lower high and get a clear break back down below, and a break back down below this area. After felling that high, I'm definitely going to be looking for shorts in the form of a flag there. So now let's pop into our 1 hour time frame. This morning I took a trade off of this lower high right here, which was also, if you look at the time frame that I'm on, this was my 4 hour LQZ. And you can go back to the beginning of the video before I deleted this stuff off, and you'd actually see the price stuff up there. As we broke this right here, again, if we look at structure, we had this pattern form in this area, a flag. We had a smaller flag on the outside of this on the 15-minute time frame, where you had taken the market short, formed this bit of a channel, and then we started getting a break of structure there. So price failed to touch this low. I wasn't counting it out to take out the low until I got the break of structure here. When price pushed above, I waited for the first pullback, in which it gave here, pull back inside of the area, and then it immediately broke back above. And now this was our first flag we would have looked for to take higher. and this was our second flag. And then this right here was our third flag. Now I got in right here on the market, and I was looking to take it up here to this, and I had a 45 pip stop loss. And for some people, you probably immediately are like, "Whoa, that's a huge stop loss." But when you look at relative of risk to reward in this situation, I was aiming for 120 pips. I had a 40 pip stop loss, and I'm using a 3 micro on this as a and not even a full contract. I'm using a 3 micro. So if you don't trade micros, a micro is $3 per point in profit, or point in percentage, however you want to label it. It's actually point in percentage, but every pip is equivalent to $3 inside of the market. I wasn't trading a full contract. In a full contract, it would have been a one contract in this situation, and every point in percentage is $10. So I'm trading a smaller risk, and my risk is really mitigated in this situation because I'm looking at price coming up and tagging this 4-hour liquidity zone, which it did. But not only did it tag it, I didn't see our news that came out, which was the Fed had a press conference and they were discussing the rate changes, which gave us this massive move back above, for basically 300 pips right before the market closed. Now, I didn't participate in the full 300 pips, and I didn't participate in the entire move up to the 4-hour liquidity zone. I was in the middle of doing something when I was taking the trade, and when I looked up at my chart from my first entry, and my Steph, who trades with me, Stephanie, she had taken the trade here, and so she had a bit of a better entry than I did. So she was looking at a take profit of about 150 pips, and I was looking at a take profit again of about 125 pips. Both usually using about a 30 pip stop loss. And now, first things first, when you have an entry, either like Stephanie had, or you have an entry like myself, we made a major mistake of when we saw this right here. Let's use a bar replay. I took my trade here after I saw we had a failed attempt here to go lower. After I saw it go up, break down, and started coming up, I went ahead and placed my stop loss right below here. Yep, right below there. This low, and it was below this trend line that I'd formed. And then I was taking the trade up into the zone, like I said, into here. So the market plays out. I don't even get spooked at all by the stop, and by this time I'm off doing something else. So I'm running at this point 70 pips in profit. I completely have walked away from the chart. So we'll go one more bar. And the first thing I open my chart up to is I missed from the top of this right here. And this is where I messed up. And I'm always going to be open and honest. So I missed my take profit by 30 pips, and I just missed out on 70 pips in profit. At this point, I had basically, in my mind, moved my mental stop loss, because this may seem bad, but I do trade a stop loss, but I have more of a mental stop loss than an actual stop loss that I place inside the market. I'd mentally move my stop loss up here to break even, and we get this pullback into the market. And the market sits here, it does that right there, and then within the next 2 hours, 3 hours, and 4 hours goes and takes profit. So what did I do? I closed my trade right here after I got this doji candle. and I settled for a measly $100 inside of the market on a 3 micro, which, by the way, look, profit's profit, a win's a win. But at the end of the day, I didn't allow for my plan to play out. And this is from someone who trades actively and is an active participant inside of the market. And there's times like this where I'm looking, it's at the top of structure, it's near my take profit, it missed my take profit in retrospect, well, like a few pips. And I was so focused on the 70 points that I just missed out on because of the retracement that I'd totally forgotten about my edge. And I didn't let my edge play out. And if I would have been patient, waited another 2 hours, I would have hit take profit. And same for Stephanie. Stephanie, she also did the same thing. She saw this huge retracement we had here. We saw the near miss to the top. She ends up closing her trade in profit, not as near as what she should have. And yeah, just a missed trade opportunity. And not only did it do that, but in hour 4, look at this. Both of us would have had a beautiful entry on a trade that went 300 plus pips. And that is just the way the dice rolls. And I just wanted to be transparent. I wanted to show you that trade because stuff like this happens. This was very much a valid trade for us. It's not like it was a higher probability trade. It was a valid trade in both of our setups. There is a flag right here at the top of the thing that we're taking the trade off of. But if we were looking, we should have had our trade off of this right here, a clear break above. We had the first flag. And when this happened, it's basically midnight my time, 11 o'clock midnight my time. I was passed out. I didn't wake up till 4 this morning. I overslept. I was supposed to be up at 1 this morning. And I'm glad I woke up before. It gave me more time for this flag to form, but hey, is what it is. This is going to go in my trade journal. I'm going to review this trade just like I talked you through it. What could I have done? What could I have done differently? And last of all, I'm not going to beat myself up over the trade because at the end of the day, it was a dub. It was a crappy dub, but it was a dub nonetheless. And, it was a profitable trade. It just wasn't as profitable as we wanted. And I wouldn't have even capitalized on all 300 of those pips because I had a take profit in, which I gladly set my take profit in. But I wouldn't have even capitalized on all 300 of those points. I had a take profit set 126 points. But either way, that's just the way the market is. So right now, currently, inside of the market, let's clear this off. We have a minute and a half left. What are we looking for? Right here, I want to see either a rejection of this or I want to see a break of this. And really, it should be this area right here. But this is going to be the area that I'm paying attention to just because of the liquidity in this. And this is going to be our 4-hour liquidity zone. So I want to see a break above this. And then a clear break above this guy right here would be the extra confirmation. But for me, it's this structure because this was our first push down. After we broke this channel, we formed this flag in this area, our pushback, forming our lower high before we move lower in the market. So I want to see it break the lower high, not just the higher high. We get a break of this lower high, then I want to see the market continue. So look for the published idea inside of the TradingView homepage. I will have a further in-depth view of the market of how I'm taking this position head on, what I'm going to do next. And also I'm going to drop the Bitcoin idea because we didn't get to it. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. Lots of nuggets inside of it. And as always, I will catch you next market session, aka Asia. Peace.